Welcome to another episode of another motherfucking podcast, the wokest podcast in the world. I am your host, Paris Ahmaud, and you are now entering the Paris verse. Before we get into the episode, if you want to support the show financially, there are multiple ways you could do so. First and foremost, you can find us over on Patreon at patreon.com/saved by Paris, where you can subscribe to us for only $3.33, cheaper than your cup of coffee. You can also subscribe to us directly over on Spotify, where you will gain access to bonus episodes and early access. And of course, to support the show, it doesn't need to be financially. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be sure to rate the show 5 stars, as it will help us move up in the algorithm. Now, we got all that out the way. Let's get into the episode. Drake has dropped his long awaited project, For All the Dogs. And let's just talk about my initial thoughts before we dive into some of the drama surrounding the project. But I will say this is the first Drake project in a long time that I've actually enjoyed. I'd probably say since Views. Views wasn't a bad project. And it kind of gives you a feel good vibe. But every project after that has been a heavy miss for me. Now honestly, Nevermind was Drake kind of stepping out of his comfort zone and doing something different, and I did not think that was a bad project at all. In fact, I enjoyed it thoroughly. And but with that being said, all these other Drake projects, Scorpion, Scorpion, Scorpio, whatever, potato, potato. Um, what was after? Let's just look up Drake's discography real quick. Okay, so yeah, Scorpion. And then he has Certified Lover Boy, which was like 3 years following Scorpion, and it was what it was. It wasn't something that blew me away. At this point, if you're expecting something crazy from Drake, something just you're gonna get your hopes up. Drake is just at that point in his career where he's comfortable. He doesn't have to push the mold. He could just release what he's been releasing, and people are gonna eat it up, right? So yeah, Certified Lover Boy, like I said, it was what it was. It was alright. Honestly, never mind. I did enjoy that project. I thought Drake kind of did step out of his comfort zone a little bit and did some things. But For All the Dogs, I will say, is a phenomenal project. I'm not sure what the first week numbers are. Listen, numbers don't really matter in hip hop, but people care. So I would imagine at least 500K. It's a Drake project. If this was maybe a different era, definitely million streams first week, right? But yeah, I thought the project was good. I thought the features, they were phenomenal. I will say, like with 21 Savage, never, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? And 21 Savage, as much as hip hop Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, as much as they hate now on 21 Savage, saying all his songs sound the same, yada yada yada. Who gives a fuck? Like 21 elevates every Drake song he's been on, and so of course, you gotta have 21 Savage on the album. I'm forgetting Her Loss too. He did drop Her Loss recently, a collab project with 21, and I think that's getting a lot of love as well. He did have a song with Yeet on the album, and I might be one of the odd guys that want to see more of this duo. I thought Yeet and Drake complemented each other really well. I think this was an old Yeet song that leaked a while back, and so Drake just hopped on it, and I think he did it justice, if I'm being honest. And honestly, Yeet might take the number one spot from J. Cole's feature on the project, First Person Shooters, um, which that's a big W for Underground. That's a huge W. Anyone who's followed the rise of Yeet and what he's how he started and where he's at now, that's a huge W. And it makes it. Hey, when one's winning, we're all winning, right? So yeah, I thought the Yeet project was really good. I think Yachty's been in his bag lately. Yachty has polished his cadence, his flow, his sound and style. He is just this is not the same Lil Yachty from 3 years ago, even 5, 7 years ago. This is not the same Yachty. So I love what Yachty's doing. I think he needs to keep going. He's pushing the mold. Yachty is doing something different than a lot of these other artists. And when he first came out, he was just an artist that I didn't see that from. So I'm glad to see that he's continuously been grinding and up in his level. He's also running a podcast, of course. You know, rappers. You know, we gotta we gotta get our bag. You know, we gotta get in our bag. So he has a podcast. He's working hard, man. So shout out Yachty. Um, and then of course, yeah, I thought the J. Cole feature, first person shooters, I thought that was probably one of the best songs on the project. So I do need to give this a few more plays, a few more listens through. I've been listening to it. I think I've listened to it about 2 times all the way through, and I need to get a little bit more before I give my final thoughts on the project. But this is a great project. I'm loving it. Um, Drake Drake stepped up, so you know with that being said, though, there is a lot of drama surrounding the project. So let's get into it. Let's get into the disses where you know he's dissed Rihanna, he's dissed ASAP Rocky, The Weeknd, XXX Tentacion, and more. So let's get into it. And Complex, they have this article where they broke down all of the potential disses on the project. So let's just get into it. Let's start first with his OG op, if you will, Pusha T. And so one of the songs is called "Calling for You." There's this skit where this woman, she's talking about he lied to me, he lied to me. You know, we sat in economy. Said there wasn't. He said first class was full. He stand up. You know, she sees that it wasn't full, and so it's speculated that this is a little jab at Pusha T. Um, where some people believe that the skit is referencing a message Pusha posted earlier this week on X, formerly known as Twitter, in which he complained about the poor service he received from American Airlines, and he explained he was told he would have a first class seat but was put in economy instead. And then he continues on, fear of heights, you know, you niggas some pussy for real. You niggas some sissy for real. Virginia, I pull up and chill. You know you can't come where I stay. You know, when Drake gets to talking like he's a like you know, like he from the streets, you know, he talking shit. So people connected the dots. They came up with the belief that Pusha T is the target on Drake's track Fear of Heights, where he mentions going to Virginia and having the freedom to chill, but his ops can't stay where he does. Toronto. And if you didn't know, Pusha T is from Virginia Beach. He said, Virginia, I pull up and chill. You know, you can't come where I stay. So it seems like the beef between him and Drake is never gonna end. So so yeah. And the tweet that Pusha sent out, he said, damn, at American Air, if you didn't have a first class seat, why would you let the agent book it? To charge me for first class and only offer a coach is terrible. And to sit me in coach seat that doesn't even recline after paying for a first class seat is crazy. So hey, if the skit if the skit is directed towards that nigga Drake worked fast. That nigga put that out the same fucking week that happened. So I mean, you know, take what you will from that. It could be a coincidence, but I feel like with all things Drake, it's never a coincidence. There's always subliminals. There's always an underlying message, and if it's a coincidence dealing with Drake, I think it's intentional. So. But yeah, let's continue. You know, he had to also, you know, throw shots at his little fling, his crush Rihanna, and on the same track, Fear of Heights, he goes, he start actually starts it out. Why they make it sound like I'm still hung up on you? That could never be. Gal can't ruin me. Better him than me. Better it's not me. I'm anti. Yeah, and the sex was average with you. Yeah, I'm anti because I had it with you. Okay, I'm anti like your daddy's sister, anti like a family picture, and I had way better bitches than you, 2BH. Yeah, that man, he's still with you. He can't leave you. Y'all go on vacation. I bet it's Antilles. You know, shit that I can't even, Drake is a rich motherfucker and I'm a broke nigga, so I could can't even afford a vacation. So who am I to talk, right? But yes, a lot of people think that this is directed at Rihanna. And for context, ever since Rihanna and ASAP Rocky made their relationship official in 2020, social media has had a field day dragging Drake over the feelings he once had for Rihanna. The two were no longer friends as of 2018, according to Riri. And on Fear of Heights, Drake chooses a few words that could speculate he was talking about Rihanna, from the word anti, which is the name of her last studio album, and then the pronunciation of gal. And so, what you guys think? You think this is a diss at Rihanna? If so, he said the sex with her was average. He said he had way bad bitches than her. Come on, Drake. We seen your baby mama. Do not cap. Do not cap. Do not do Rihanna like that. Continuing on to potential disses on the album. This one at this point is too coincidental. This one has got to be, I feel like at this point Drake is trolling the fan base. He's trolling us. He knows we're gonna get on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and talk about it. And that's of course XXX and what Drake says on the song Daylight, which Drake X had a song called Moonlight. Now here we are on Daylight, and X or not X Drake raps. Internet swear that I bought the body. Take more of that to go pop somebody. Them niggas talk about everybody, so low key I'm happy they got somebody. Nigga, what? And in the chorus, he of course says, "Shot him in daylight, shot him in daylight," over and over. And as you know, XXX was unfortunately gunned down trying to buy a motorcycle in broad daylight. And so yeah, he with the chorus of the song making references, and then the internet. I think this is because the internet swears that Drake has something to do with the murder of X, and I've always said Drake might not have killed X or had anything to do with the murder of X, but Drake makes it seem that way, and that makes him just as bad. He acts like he has something to do with the body. He's always dissing X. I mean, after a couple months after X died and he dropped Scorpion, he had that line in Mob Ties about Louis bag turned to body bag or whatever. And as you know, X when he was killed, he had a Louis bag that the killers took. And so he also rapped in that in this verse, Daylight, TBS was investigated him. Toronto, they asked, if he had something to do with the body. And so at this point, man, not only is this him addressing the murder of X and how there's a conspiracy going around that he has something to do with it, but he just continues to troll the fan base and whatnot. And at this point, if you're not convinced, I don't know what will convince you. I mean, he's been Drake's been doing this for years. He's still hung up about the tapioca pudding joke and him bringing his mom into the beef. And if you remember, X also had a shirt printed with the picture of X as the father and Drake's mom, and they're holding little baby Aubrey, Aubrey Graham. And so yeah, he's still in his feelings about that. So, what do y'all think? Y'all think this is at X? I mean, you can't convince me it's not, but well, I'm just curious what y'all think. I wasn't there when they caught the body. TBS think that I bought the body. Internet swear that I bought the body. Take more than that to go pop somebody. You're not convincing me that's not about X. Moving on, Dylan Brooks. On the song Another Late Night, Drake raps, Shotty Ransom, Dylan Brooks, can't believe this nigga talking, damn. And for context, Drake had a bar ready for Houston Rockets for Dylan Brooks on the track Another Late Night. And during an interview with ESPN and Team Canada, the team was asked to choose between Drake and Ryan Reynolds, and Brooks picked Reynolds. So that's why Shotty Ransom, Dylan Brooks can't believe this nigga talking down. But I don't know. He feeling feisty on this album. He feeling like big Aubrey, big Drake, got the Draco. But he continues in the same song, Another Late Night. My bank account is Magnolia, Millie rocking. Weirdos in my comments talking about some Millie Bobby. Bring them jokes up to the gang. We get to really flocking. Send a finger to your mama and some FedEx boxes. Open that shit up is jaw dropping, really shocking. Hey, I ain't pretty Flocko, bitch. This shit get really rocky. Hey, why Drake acting like he a gangster? Like he's sending fingers to people's mamas. Can we please rap about what we really about, Drake? You know, I like Drake, but I don't. It's a love-hate relationship. He's always doing Drake shit. So, but yeah, for context, once again, folks have heavily criticized the friendship of Drake for his or have criticized Drake for his friendship with Millie Bobby Brown back in 2018 due to their age gap. If you remember, the Stranger Things star had mentioned that she texts Drake all the time, and at the time I believe she was 14, and so that's been a thing since then. So, and she actually, Millie Bobby Brown actually fired back at the rumors, claiming people were weird and they make a lovely friendship your headline. So, he addresses this in the song. If you bring them jokes up around him to the gang, see what happens, basically. And if you didn't catch at the end, he also said, "I ain't pretty Flocko, bitch. This shit get really rocky." A and of course, ASAP Rocky, whose nickname is Pretty Boy Flacco. So once again, a little subtle diss to ASAP. Um, let's see. Let's continue. That looks like that rounds it up for the disses. It look like I know J Cole did address the NBA YoungBoy diss. Says he still want to get a song with YB. Can't trust everything you saw on IG. Just know if I diss you, I make sure you know. Same can't be said for Drake. You know, if Drake disses you, you gotta read between the lines. You gotta connect the motherfucking dots to figure the shit out. And he everything that he does is calculated. So you can't convince me at this point. If it's coincidental, Drake meant the shit, right? And so that's not the only beef or the drama surrounding the project. But before we get to that, he is taking a break from music for health reasons, to prioritize health. And I guess this means this is the end of his tour. He did cancel some shows. He actually canceled the show my fiance was going to. So we haven't heard nothing about that on if he's going to replan it or not. But he is taking a break from music for his health. But moving on to more drama surrounding the project, Joe Budden versus Drake. And so Drake is pushing back on some Joe Budden criticism for his new album For All the Dogs. He during a recent episode the Joe Budden podcast, the rapper said Drake is rapping for the kids. He needs to start making music for an older audience. And the full quote goes, by Joe Budden about Drake. He rapping for the children. Yo, dog, I had to look up how old this nigga was when I finished listening to the album. You are 36. Your birthday is in 20 days. I Googled that too. You are going to be 37 years old. Get the fuck away from some of these younger niggas and stop fucking with these 25-year-olds. And then he continued, I want to hear adult Drake rapping for adult people. He rapping for the kids, the streams, the accolades. He ain't trying to rap for me. I accept that. And yeah, Joe Budden, of course, with the word and Joe and Drake, their beef goes back a few years too. But Drake has since fired back in this comic section of an Instagram post by DJ Academics, adding Joe Budden. It's a long ass post, so bear with me. But he says, at Joe Budden, you have failed that music. You left it behind to do what you are doing in this clip because this is what actually pays your bills. For any artist watching this, just remember you are watching a failure. Give their opinion on his idea of a recipe for success. A quitter give their opinion on how to achieve longevity. Continues, you switch careers because the things that pop into your brain, You had you broke, living check to check. And the raps you write had 450 men showing up to your shows in dusty jeans to screw up their face to Mood Music 29 and pretend you are the GOAT. Please, to any artist that's doing what they feel is right, don't let these opinions affect your mindset after the fact. This guy is the poster child of frustration and surrendering. You retired, we never hung up your jersey, we just don't remember your number. We know we know you for doing this, podcasting. You withdrew from rap not because you accomplished all you need to, but because it wasn't working for you. He continues, like I said, this long ass post. Drake was in his feelings. Drizzy was in his feelings. But he continues, I never want anybody in the generations to think that the whole everybody's entitled to their opinion is a real thing. This is a man projecting his own self hate. And the fact that I did and continue to do everything he wanted to do for himself, if you need to put in simpler terms, I own a 767. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions. Budden responds, you'll grow up sooner or later. Father Time is undefeated. Man, that boy Drake was going. You can't cap. He was going in on Joe. He was going in on Joe Budden, which I never knew Joe Budden for his music. You know, I'm 26. I've only ever known Joe Budden for his podcast. Matter of fact, I didn't know about the song "Pump It Up" until Drake brought it up in a song dissing Joe Budden. So say what you will about that. You know, he, you know he's kind of hitting the nerve a little bit. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion isn't a real thing. That's facts. And in a world full of podcasters, and who am I to talk, right? But in a world full of podcasters and talk shows and yada yada yada, you know, everybody thinks they have an opinion. Everybody thinks their opinion matters, and so hey, it is what it is, right? But yeah, the drama, of course, continues around the album. Now Birdman, oh number one stunner, you know, looking like my son type shit. He's stepped into the fold and he checks Joe Budden and Charlemagne the God over Drake disrespect. You know, he goes on to say, um, I think you mean good and I respect you, even though we had our difference. But you gonna respect Drake. And this was at Charlemagne the God following a not too kind reaction to the Drake and SZA collaboration Slime You Out, telling his audience that nobody cared about the track. And so Birdman fired back. He said, you gonna put some you gonna not only put some respect on my name, you gonna put it on Drake's. Uh Continues to also write to Joe Budden, calm down, brother, you not built for this real gangster shit. And he goes on to say, niggas keep playing with Drake. We gonna throw you a stunner surprise party. That means you getting fucked. That means he throwing you a stunner surprise party. You getting fucked by him, by his brother, and by some real gangsters. So better be careful. Better be careful. He also has some words for Drewski. Drewski did a skit. Drewski did a skit pretending to be Birdman and whatnot. And Birdman did not find it funny. He even shared several images of Drewski saying that on his mother, this nigga gonna come up missing. Drewski, my little nigga, want some of that. Stop playing with the goat. Drake, rich gang, or don't bang, you little bitch. Little bitch. And Drake himself even jumped in the comments of Drewski saying, "Stun about to have you come up missing on Glades." And if you didn't know, Drewski and Drake are pretty good friends. So I don't know Birdman, he a OG. You don't play with the unk. Don't play with the unk. He a OG. So yeah, you better be careful, Drewski. But yeah, so this has been all the drama surrounding For All the Dogs. It does not seem it's gonna end. And at this point, we're waiting. Are we gonna get a response from Rihanna and Rocky? Oh, he did this weekend. He did say something along the lines in the P and D song "Members Only." He stated that his girls, his shawties listen to P&D. They don't listen to the weekend. So, but is that a diss? Is it not? Because the lyrics aren't confirmed. Some people are saying they do, that the lyrics said that they do listen to the weekend, while others are saying that the lyrics said they don't. So once we get confirmed lyrics, I guess we'll know. But until then, maybe a diss, maybe not. But yeah, so that ends the drama surrounding "For All the Dogs" by Drake. I'm sure we'll get more drama as things unfold. I'm sure after I finish this episode that something to come out. So until we gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the project. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you have high expectations and you were uh, let down, or did you not have really too much going in on it and was actually blown away? Let me know in the comments. I will put a poll up on Spotify and just yeah, yes or no. But moving on to more hip hop news. This is a hip hop episode, I suppose. But Keefe D was arrested and charged in the first degree murder in the killing of Tupac Shakur. If you don't know by now, the streets been new this. We been new, and I ain't saying I'm part of the streets, but the internet, we been new that Keefe D had something to do with the murder of Tupac. He's been talking about it for the last 2 decades, right? And so he did confess in 2018 to having a role in the killing of Tupac Shakur. After revealing he was dying of cancer, he went on to say he was the passenger in the white Cadillac on the night of the incident, and he refused to name the other suspects in the car, but did confirm that the shooter was his nephew, Orlando Anderson, and that it was out of retaliation for getting jumped earlier. And he also went on to say there was $1 million bounty by Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Brother Love. Fast forward to 2023, a house owned by his wife in nearby Henderson, Nevada, was raided by police, in which documents stated that they were looking for items connected to the murder of Tupac Shakur in the raid. And 50 Cent, 50 Cent took to Instagram to troll P. Diddy recently, telling him, time to lawyer up. If what Keefe D is saying is true, it is time to lawyer up. And he went on to post, damn, so Pac got lined by Brother Love. LOL. Time to lawyer up. Time to lawyer up. Shit might get sticky. And there's been long rumors of P. Diddy having something to do with the murder of Tupac and even the murder of Biggie Smalls. But hey, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not here to talk conspiracies. But yeah, during a visit to the Breakfast Club in 2016, P. Diddy was asked about his involvement in Pac's death, and he declined to answer the question. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, so we're not even gonna go there. With all due respect, and we'll learn more as details come soon. Is Keefe D on? He been squealing for the last 20 years. He been dry snitching. Seems to be a problem in hip hop and hip hop related areas. Seems like people like to dry snitch in their songs, in their documentaries, in TV shows and whatnot. So nothing new, nothing new. So we gonna find out more, and maybe information will come forward about P Diddy. Maybe it won't, but until then, it's all allegedly. You can't sue me. It's allegedly P Diddy has something to do with the murder of Tupac. Allegedly, Keefe D has something to do with the murder of Tupac. So you're not gonna line me up. All I'm saying. Speaking of Tupac, Atlanta producer tweeted out Tupac is a great rapper, but Future more influential than him as an artist, and then went on to say Kanye West has done more for hip hop than Tupac. I'm, of course, talking about ATL Jacobs. And listen, what is it about rappers and producers never seeming to learn to not diss Tupac? Lil Xan had to find out the hard way when he called Tupac a boring artist and ranked him 2 out of 5. Killed his career. Lil Yachty had to learn when he said he didn't know any music by Tupac or Biggie, and the internet clowned him, and then he went and did his research. When are these artists and producers gonna learn? Don't diss Tupac Shakur. I'm not saying you can't have a different opinion, and really, this is just a different opinion. I think he could have talked highly of Future without bringing down Tupac, because Future is one of those artists that people forget to put in the top three with J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake. Future has been around just as long as them. He's evolved as an artist just like them. And in Atlanta, Future is Atlanta's is the Atlanta version of New York's Jay Z. Is the Louisiana versions of Boosie Badass. You know, people think highly of Future in Atlanta. And you can't deny his impact. You can't deny that Future has been a foothold in hip hop for the last decade. So, well, I think when you bring up the big three, you got to bring up the big four. You got to bring up Future. So, I mean, I agree. Yeah, Future is influential, but I wouldn't go as far as to say he's more influential than Tupac, because you got to remember this: Tupac was only around 6 years and has had the impact that he had. And I don't have to go down memory lane. I don't have to do a history lesson for you. We all know how big and um, we all know how big and influential Tupac was. We all know what he did, movies, albums, and the whole deal. In 6 years, did all that. Got shot on two separate occasions, and I just think it's not fair to bring up someone who is living, who has been here in the music scene longer than Tupac, and two different time zones, two different time. I'm all over the place. Two different time eras: the golden era of rap and then modern era of rap. It's just a huge gap in between them. So the to just bring up someone who is still being brought up to this day, I mean, will we still be bringing up Future in 40 years, 20 years? Tupac, we will be. I guarantee you that. So you don't have to put down Tupac, and I'm not putting down Future at all. Like I said, he is influential. He's in his own bag, and he's within the big four. And you can't deny what Kanye has done for hip hop either. But I think he's got to learn. These rappers got to learn to stop bringing down Tupac, because bringing down Tupac might end your career. It might lose you respect. I'm just ask Lil Xan. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Just ask Lil Xan. Uh, do you know who the fuck Lil Xan is? Probably not. That's what I mean. On that note, this has been another episode of Another Motherfucking Podcast. Now, be sure to keep up with us on Instagram at Paris Ahmaud or at the Parisverse. And if you're looking for bonus episodes, you can, of course, head over to patreon.com/saved by Paris, or directly on Spotify, where you can subscribe for the same bonus episodes that you'd get on Patreon, just minus the music and other things. And with all that being said, I'm out. Peace.